What's up, guys? It's Mike here with another game review for you. This time it's of Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, and for the record, it was the Xbox One edition, is what I played it on. So, Assassin's Creed, the franchise, I liked the first game. It's okay, pretty good. Then the second game was great. It improved upon everything in the first game. And then Brotherhood did the same thing, uh, improved upon the second game, and then it also added this whole new train your assassins mode. And then they kind of got a bit of a stutter step, still a good game in Revelations. I wasn't a big fan of that hook blade thing you had, and the story wasn't as strong because he basically got his revenge, and Ezio's story was about revenge. But it was still a pretty good game, just it did feel like a slight step back, or maybe a step in the same place. But then Assassin's Creed 3 came out, and there was just so many glitches. The story wasn't as compelling. You start off as a super strong Templar. The game's been out too long. I'm spoiling it for you if you haven't seen it. Starts as a Templar, and then you get to be a little kid for like another hour and a half after spending 2 hours as a powered up assassin. Uh, so, yeah, was not a fan of that. And I thought my time with the franchise was going to be done unless I, just got a game for cheap. But then Xbox One came out. One of the games for it was the new Assassin's Creed. I heard good things about it, so I decided I'd check it out, and those things definitely stood up. Now, can I say this game was better than Assassin's Creed 3? Of course. First off, when it comes to glitches, which Assassin's Creed 3 was filled with, this had very, 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 very few. I think throughout the whole game, there's probably 4 or 5 instances of glitches, none of them coming during cutscenes or anything like in the last game, and all of them were amusing when they happened, and I have them stored as clips on the one that I'm probably going to get together and upload, just as these funny clips that happened while I was playing, and it didn't take away from the game. Second, it built upon the naval system that was in 3. I was like, okay, this is a cool concept, and then it made it really awesome. This game didn't have to be an Assassin's Creed game. It could have just been a Pirates game, and I would have loved it. But it did have Assassin's Creed elements. It's probably up there with Brotherhood as my favorite Assassin's Creed game. And though aren't an assassin through most of the game, there's a lot of ties to... You work with assassins, you understand their mythology, and you're introduced to this new concept of a one of the powerful people that made the humans, I guess, in the game, what the Juno people were in the other games, and one of them got put into a human body and just keeps getting reborn as this sage, which is a really neat character to introduce to the mythology. The New World assassins in this game seem a lot more prepared and uh, organized than the New World ones we saw in Assassin's Creed 3. And due to the fact that you're on these Caribbean islands in places like Havana and Tortuga, all these places are older cities, so they have buildings that are reminiscent of, say, Italy or uh, the Middle East during the Crusades, So you get the same feel with the buildings as you did in the other games, where in Assassin's Creed 3 was like, hey, look, it's a one-story building. Hey, there's a hut over there you can go climb on. Hey, look, some trees. Not saying that there isn't trees and stuff, because you get to explore the islands in this game. So yeah, the Assassins elements were really cool, and I'll get to the present world stuff in a minute. But the pirate stuff was really awesome. I mean, like, you could just get lost just sailing to all the different oceans. You could capture forts in this game, which really improve your understanding of how your ship works. Once you take down all the forts, then you basically have a concept of all the different weapons you have on your ship. So then you can basically take down any ship, besides those legendary ships, which are just kind of a pain in the ass. And I still need to get through there and beat those. And exploring the different islands, there's a bunch of uncharted islands that just have random stuff in there, which can be kind of a pain to go track those down unless you're just picking them up on the way. But the big islands, the ones that tell you how many chests and stuff there are, those are all pretty fun to just run around and go in there. It's it's Assassin's Creed gameplay. If you like it, you'll like it. If you didn't like 3, just forget about 3 because this is more in vain with the other Assassin's Creed games because it's actually good. And it definitely took away a lot of things I didn't like about 3, where in 3 viewpoints didn't matter. You could just run around to unveil your map. And this one doesn't unveil unless you get the viewpoints, which I like. The chests don't respawn, which I like. When you get an assassin contract, you can replay that mission, and it gives you a bonus objective, to get 100%, which I like. None of that was available in 3. So basically, got rid of all the bad stuff in 3, added in some of the better elements from Brotherhood, Revelations 2, 1. So it felt like a good game. So the whole Animus section was great. And then we get to the present day stuff, which is a lot of good with a lot of bad. Now, a lot of people can say that this didn't really have the present day storyline tied to Desmond much, which I disagree with, because if you go through and you hack all the computers, read all the sticky notes and stuff, you get a lot of what is happening post Desmond. They took his body, you find out, they're going through his memories, and you find out more stuff about Desmond in his past. There's different audio files you look at how the Animus came to be. All that stuff is really cool. And the hacking elements, there's 3 different games. One of them is just a bit of mental math, which I think is fun. You get like 5 different sets of numbers, and you need to use all those that multiply together to make the big number. You have a sphere, that's like a puzzle, really cool. And you have the other one where you are playing Frogger, basically, but it's the most annoying game of Frogger ever, and you're constantly in motion, and the timing is really specific, and that's the one I don't like, so they could have been away with that. But besides that, all those were pretty fun, and the problem is that the silent protagonist just needs to get out of games now, right? We don't need to feel like we are the main character, because what sets games apart nowadays, because all games have a base gameplay that's reminiscent of another kind, like Assassin's Creed is reminiscent of the Batman games or Far Cry. All these things, they're kind of the same but different with tweaks to those elements. So it's not very often that we get a game that completely innovates on gameplay the way that Halo did back in the day, the way the first Call of Duties did, the way that Brotherhood recently did. Those don't happen very often. So what really drives the games forward nowadays are the story. And if you're the main character, then you're not getting as much story from this, because everyone relates to it differently. Not saying like something with Mass Effect 3, where you do make your own character and you get your own decisions, but the thing is that there's still a story about them. With a silent protagonist, you can't give that much story to it, because you can't make bad stuff happen to the player, because then they'll take that as it happening to them. And I did not like the fact that you can't see his face at all, or her face. They don't address you by name. You're important, but not important enough. You have all these hacking abilities. So, unless they're pulling off a major twist with you're playing as the main character from Watch Dogs in this game, or another character important to that franchise, or a future Assassin's Creed game, then the silent protagonist was just a bad choice for this game, and hopefully they don't do that again. Though I did enjoy the tie-ins to the next story. Hopefully with the next Assassin's Creed, which can either be a continuation to Black Flag, because they did leave it open for Edward to be in another game, but they also made it to where it didn't have to be. Whatever they do, though, I hope that the main character gets their own personality, their own story to them, because I like the future elements just as much as the past elements. Overall, I have to give this game an A-. It would be an A+ if it wasn't for the fact that I don't like silent first-person protagonists. Besides that, it's a great game. The story with the assassin side of it, the Animus part, it gets sad in there, kind of. This guy gets his whole life destroyed, and you kind of deal with that kind of like there's this one scene right at the end where he's looking back at all the friends that he lost, sitting around a table like they used to, and that kind of brought some tears to my eyes a little bit. Not enough to cry, but enough to be sad. So that story was good. The main story or the future modern story left some to be desired, but it was still okay. I'd like to see where they go from here. Let me know down below what you guys thought of the game. And hopefully I'll have my review of Liberation out sometime later this week. Alright guys, like, share, subscribe. See ya.